Hello guys and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking all about a man with adamantium claws and an unbreakable skeleton. I'm Geekman and I'm going to be telling you all about the Wolverine. So let's get hired by Weapon X, train with the X-Men and go snicked. This is superheroes, physically speaking. Hello, my name's Geekman and you're watching Superheroes, physically speaking on the Physics channel. Wolverine is a Marvel Comics character who is currently starred in 7 20th Century Fox movies, had a cameo in an 8th, and been mentioned about 1,000 times in a 9th, the last one of those, of course, being Deadpool, who will get his own video in a few months' time. In these movies, Wolverine is played by Australian actor Hugh Jackman, and his 9th and final outing as the Wolverine is set up for Logan in 2017. I think this will be an amazing movie based on the trailer and the comic book origins for this movie, the Old Man Logan series. Convoluted timelines and alternate realities aside, Wolverine, otherwise known as Logan, has had a long and troubled past. He was born at the turn of the century, but not this century. Back in the 1800s, James Howlett was an ordinary, aristocratic and often quite ill boy from Canada. He was attacked in a domestic dispute and snicked. A trio of bone claws shot from each hand and he accidentally killed his attacker. Whoops. He was forced to leave as his animalistic nature became apparent, and he adopted the name Logan after the groundskeeper at his old estate, who, as it turns out, was his real father. He also had an amazing ability to heal virtually any wound or injury instantaneously. This healing factor also acted on his memories and suppressed the dark shadows of his childhood, giving him amnesia. Almost over a century and a half later, Logan was taken in by the Canadian Weapon X project, who experimented on him and managed to lace his entire skeleton, including his claws, with adamantium, a fictional, unbreakable metal. Now, is any of this actually possible? Well, yeah. If we ignore the issues, the fact that mutants couldn't actually exist because that's not how evolution works, then a lot of this is theoretically possible. By the way, Rocket did a great video about evolution on this channel a few weeks ago, so do please go and check that out if you haven't already seen it. Once you've finished here, of course. Now, it is technically possible for someone to heal that fast if they had a really high metabolism. The metabolism is the sum of all the catabolic and anabolic reactions happening in the human body, i.e. all the chemicals that are built up and broken down across the entire body. If Wolverine's body did have an incredibly high metabolism, then he could theoretically heal faster. But he'd need to eat tons of food. If he got shot, in the heart for example, in order to heal a bullet wound fast enough to survive, he would need to have about a pound of amino acids on standby, ready to be built into proteins and cells in a matter of seconds. This would take about 25 calories if it's healing at usual rates, but to be honest, we don't really know how much energy you would have to take to build it up that fast because, well, no one's ever actually healed from getting shot in the heart that fast, or, to be honest, at all. At least not without serious medical attention. Seeing, however, as he would have no idea when he may need to heal this fast, and that it isn't the only injury he can sustain, plus the huge amount of exercise he gets, he would need roughly, and this is just an estimate based on the suggested calorie intake for someone of his size, mass and gender, about 25,000 calories every single day. But assuming that were possible, which it is, we still have the issue of his skeleton. Adamantium is a fictional metal, the chemical formula of which is actually never been fully disclosed, and it has a lot of fictional properties. It is possible to manufacture an alloy with the same sort of strength endurance as adamantium in theory, but there is one property that doesn't actually make sense. According to Marvel Comics, once the metal has taken shape, it cannot be heated and changed shape or melted. I'm sorry, but that's not how chemistry works. It could have an extremely high boiling and melting point, according to Marvel about 1500 degrees Fahrenheit, but with enough energy, the molecules and atoms would still get away from each other. It would still melt, it will change shape. However, if we do gloss over that and assume they just mean it has an extremely high melting point in their odd, confused little way, Wolverine could theoretically have survived the procedures by rebuilding his muscles, organs and skin in places where the metal had burnt them, using the power I explained about a moment ago. One thing they actually got right was how he lost his memories. As I've already said, his healing factor suppressed a lot of his memories from his childhood, certainly the dark ones at least, causing him to lose them somewhat. And his brain was damaged by the adamantium lacing process in a way that anyone else would have been a permanent vegetable. With his healing factor, his brain healed and what was left of his mind sort of stayed, but many of the neural pathways in his mind had been killed when the cells were vaporized. You see, memories are stored as links between the cells in the brain, not as actual charges or cells. When those cells die, yes, new cells can regrow, but those cells don't have the same electrical connections the way that the originals did. To be fair, some of his memories survived because his brain had been trying to heal itself throughout the actual process, so had managed to save some of it, but much of his mind was gone. Now, what really killed off everything he had been before was when the Weapon X project broke his mind open when they brainwashed him to become a command-controlled killer. He just went berserk, losing all the memories he had that had still somehow survived with him, his entire personality melting down throughout these tortures, and then he escaped, but his memories completely gone. James Howlett was then dead, and Logan, the Wolverine, was fully born. The last thing I think I should mention here, of course, is his claws. Logan's forearms contain an extra muscle group that pushes the sharp bones out of his knuckles and then can pull them back in, as well as the actual bones himself, but oddly enough, according to Marvel, his claws reach a foot long, 12 inches. Logan is 5'3", however. By approximate proportions, his forearms should only be about 8 or 9, maybe 10 inches long. Remember, the claws couldn't go past his wrists or elbows, otherwise he would lose mobility in his arms. This is a little irritating, because that means somehow his claws must shrink, and if you look at them in the comics or in the movies, clearly there is no way they could fold in or telescope out when they're stored in his arms. And this is quite annoying until you look at images of Logan from the comics. He has disproportionately long forearms. I mean, look at them! They're huge! They're ridiculously long compared to the rest of him. So, yeah, his forearms are longer than they should be, but that means his long claws can fit inside of them. So, Wolverine is a superpowered mutant with a healing factor that demands 25,000 calories or 98 of McDonald's 100-gram Big Macs a day. He was abducted by the Canadian government, but they seemed so nice, and made into a mindless monster with bones covered in adamantium, a fictional metal with near impossible properties. He also has long, metal-coated bone claws that fit in his disproportionately long forearms. This one is almost a win. If we ignore some of the properties of adamantium and gloss over his disproportionately long forearms, which could exist. They're far more likely to exist than any of the rest of it. So if we're taking the powers and everything, I think we can say the forearms could exist. So yeah, this one's pretty much a win. He could theoretically exist. Sort of. Anyway, I'm Geekman from the Physics Channel. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.